So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hyben. Congratulations to the following brokers: Ameriteam Realty, Dunes Properties, Impact Real Estate, Long and Foster. Yeah, that's a big one. 11,000 agents. Plum Tree Realty, Real Estate Professionals, Realty Ohio, Remax Advantage, Remax Essential, and Agent Strong all have taken action and negotiated steep discounts on Rebus University's award-winning courses for all of their agents. And if you're an agent at one of those companies and you haven't been to Rebus University yet, go to rebusuniversity.com and click on the link that says a Rebus Preferred and see what your company has done for you. Man, you're going to be impressed. If you want unpublished pricing for all of your agents like these brokers have done, go to hybendigital.com/teams or simply pick up the phone and text or call Catherine Brower at 843-749-9900. And now for the review of the day. Got a 5-star review here from Mr. Jake Matthews, posting in the Real Estate Rockstars Facebook group. Jake says, "Thanks, Real Estate Rockstars and Pat Hyben, for the introduction. I'm a new single agent in Kansas City. I stumbled on your podcast several months ago while looking for something new and different to listen to. You and all your guests have been a huge inspiration to me. I am working now to get my real estate business up and running while trying to transition out of my full-time position. I am really looking forward to what this group can offer me and what I can give back as I grow and learn." Jake Matthew, 5 stars. Thank you, sir. Keep the comments coming, guys. I love them. And remember, I eat feedback for breakfast, so give me a 1-star review if you want, or a 5-star review if you want. I don't care. And the more reviews we get, the better guests we get. So please, subscribe first, and then leave us a review or wherever you're listening. All right, Rockstar Nation, I got a great guest today. Wanted to get this guy on the show. Recently hooked up with him at a GoBundance event, and I said, "Beau, we got to come and talk about what you're doing now, because I'm getting a lot of questions about the lending industry, how things are changing in the new Trump era of lending, and we got a lot of cash coming into the market, which really isn't cash. It's really hard money and home equity loans and things, but people are calling it cash because it's not contingent upon a traditional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac mortgage." And I said, we need to come out and talk about all things lending, especially non-traditional lending or hard money, and how it can help real estate agents make more hard money for themselves and put more hard money in their pockets. So Beau's taking time out of his busy day today, and I'm glad to have him back. Mr. Beau Eckstein, welcome back to Real Estate Rockstars.
Thank you so much, Pat. It was great seeing you in Steamboat, and I'm happy to be on the show again. And so I'm excited to talk about money.
Yeah, Beau, why don't you give everybody a little rundown on your story, because you used to be an agent, you got a lot of background there, you understand real estate agents, but just tell everybody your kind of life story there so we get to know you better real quick.
Sure. Just turned 40 last month, and been in real estate half my life for about 20 years, and I've worked in mortgage, I've worked in real estate sales, I've been a hard money lender, I've been a real estate investor, I've been on TV flipping houses, kind of done a lot in the real estate space, and it took me a while to figure out what I like to do the best, and that's where I'm at right now, which is private money lending. And so, having the background that I do, it's kind of give me kind of like a real estate agent's perspective, conventional loan officer's perspective, investor. So I've seen all that caps. And so I think that helps me kind of analyze deals really well, and also help mortgage brokers that I work with and real estate agents grow their businesses through learning about real estate investing and using other people's money to do it. And so that's what my specialty is.
So I know that a lot of agents that we know, right, are starting to use hard money in more ways than one. The first way, obviously, is working with investors, flippers, wholesalers, whatever it is you guys want to do, or whoever you want to work with. But also, in a traditional sense, you're able to give money to people that are quite frankly, getting turned down for a traditional mortgage, so they could buy houses to live in for themselves. Give me some examples of some deals you've done, or some ways that you guys are actually helping out real estate agent with non-investment type deals.
Sure. Well, I don't specialize in the owner-occupied private money because that's considered a consumer loan. I specialize in business purpose loans, but I can talk about that. Yeah, there are funds out there that do lend on owner-occupied properties if let's say they don't have credit or the property isn't habitable at the time. There's lenders out there that
can't get it to appraise because there's a bunch of repairs that need to be done, and the seller doesn't want to do those repairs, and the buyer doesn't want to do those repairs, so they don't own it yet. Right?
Exactly.
Go and get the loan from you, right?
Yeah. So basically, these loans are equity. They're based on the asset. Essentially, we look at credit score. We look at experience of the borrowers and things like that. But a lot of these loans are just based on the asset, and they'll lend a certain loan to value, a certain percentage of the purchase price. There's many different products out there, but really my specialty is working with investors and real estate agents that work with investors. A lot of my agents that I work with have grown their business significantly because they were an REO agent and they have a ton of investor clients, and I would be the third piece there that would be funding their transactions so they can scale their business and buy more properties and leverage in a good way. So
okay, so let's talk about this. So what is a average cost of a hard money loan right now?
So it's all based on loan to value and track record and credit score. But typically, if you wanted to borrow, let's say 75% of the purchase price,
yep,
you would be between 8 and 9.5% for a rate, and the points are dependent on a few factors as far as the loan term. Most of the loans are usually shorter terms, 12-month terms. Rates are now creeping down into the upper sevens now for private money or hard money. So there's a lot of compression, and depending on the state you're in, also dictates kind of where the rates are. Some states the pricing's a little bit higher, depending on how much capital is floating around in that market.
So, a lot of cash purchases, way more than there was 10 years ago, right? Obviously, it's because, there's so many old houses out there with mold and REOs and things that need to be fixed up. It's also because a lot of buyers nowadays are very picky on the quality. They want to live in a Ritz-Carlton rather than a Holiday Inn, where before they were fine with living in a Holiday Inn. Like the standard of living is kind of increased, and that's helped the flipping market dramatically. What advice do you have for somebody who is going out there looking to do their first purchase with a hard money loan, that they're going to take a zero and make it a hero?
Right. So the first things first is to really know if you're not a real estate agent, make sure you're aligned with an investor-friendly real estate agent. And for all the real estate agents listening right now, I highly recommend that you start opening your mind if you're not working in the investor space, because the great thing about this, when I was working as a broker and selling a lot of houses, a lot of my customer base, they were real estate investors. And so the nice thing about them is they keep buying and buying and buying. I would do 5, 10, 15 deals a year with some of the same buyers. So it's a lucrative niche if you can really open your mind to it. And I kind of liked that space because it's not an emotional buy. It's people are buying based on profitability of the deal. So it's kind of, if you're not an emotional real estate agent, it's a great space to work with investors because they're driven by the opportunity, not so much the the curb appeal in the beginning. So
Yeah,
some of the tips,
it's more like commercial real estate.
yes, exactly. So some of the tips is know your values. So get really
These
good
are
at
the five. Bo teaches a class. It's called the 5 tips to get all of the hard money you could ever want. And again, guys, hard money can be used for various options. Sometimes people need more money to close a deal. You need more of a down payment. You need more of a whatever your other hard money is up, or you have a commercial loan and it's up, or whatever. Think outside the box. So anyways, he teaches this class of the 5 tips to get all the hard money you could possibly want. Tip number 1, I know we talked a little bit about this before the show, is building a credibility kit. What the hell is that?
Okay, so especially if you're new, this is where it's really important, is you want to put together something where when you're approaching your first, you got a deal on contract, let's say, and now you need the funding. So with no experience, people as lenders, we always ask, what's your experience? What's your track record? We actually even have a little sheet we want you to fill out and ask you, because if you're an experienced house flipper, we know you have the basic knowledge to flip houses. So a lot of people getting started may not have a big track record. So I have some credibility templates I actually can share with your viewers and listeners. But
that'd be great. Are there things that we can actually download? Because everyone that comes on this show.
Okay, so basically with the credibility kit, it's really important when you're getting started, as opposed to later down the road when you have a ton of history. You're not going to really need to show these lenders your credibility kit. But I have a template which I'm going to share with you guys, so to kind of give you kind of the structure of it's in a PDF or a Word document. You can edit
that'd be
it.
awesome, and I'll share it on Beau's show notes and also in the agent toolbox. So build this credibility kit. What is a credibility kit? Like what would I include in it?
Well, if you have any experience, you'd put your experience, and I'll actually show you some tips on, if you don't have experience, how you get partners that do have.
Yeah, because people listen and be like, hey, I want to get into flipping. Everybody does, right? Because there's big profits in it. What do I do if I don't have any experience flipping?
Yeah, so that's always the hardest part, is like, how do I get the money? And believe me, you guys can do this business with no money. There's wholesaling. There's so many ways to make money without your own money. It's all about what we call the intellectual capital, right? You got to learn the techniques, but you can do this business. And real estate agents that are listening, if you're not investing in properties yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice, because the reason I got into real estate was to invest in real estate. We don't have retirement accounts. This is do it for yourself and buy and hold and flip properties, and you'll be happy you did it. But going back to the credibility, it's basically kind of a summary of who you are, who your team members are. So if you're new, it's always good maybe to find a really good contractor that's got a lot of experience remodeling homes and stuff, and put him on your team. If you're not a real estate agent, get a really good investor-friendly real estate agent on your team. So those are things that you put inside the credibility kit. And then
you even find people that are doing it elsewhere, doing other flips, and being like, who do you use to, to fix up your flips? Which agent, shows you this? And just put, photo of them and a little bio of them, and ask them, hey, if I do a flip, do you want to be involved? And of course they're going to say yes. And then boom, that's your team.
Exactly. So yeah, I'll definitely share it with you. And so you can start building your team and building your credibility package. It's a pretty easy template, and you guys can have your way with it. So it's good to have that, and it's good to build a team. So like when you have a potential deal that you find, which I think is the most important thing as a real estate investor, if you're a house flipper, is being a good deal finder, and also having good connections with wholesalers and investor-friendly real estate agents. As a real estate agent, you guys really want to, sometimes you can be a listing agent, but maybe if you think bigger picture, you could be buying some of these properties. Instead of making a 3% commission, maybe you make 20, 30,
20 or
50,
30%, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping that this interview kind of like motivates some of you guys to get out there and start putting an investor cap on as well. And I think it's fun too. It's definitely a fun business, and it's fast paced, and you'll have a lot more customers if you can service real estate investors
and
too.
You can understand it, and you get it, and if you've done a couple yourself, investors are going to be more apt to use you as a real estate agent because you've done it yourself. You understand the numbers, you understand what they want. So what do you got for the second tip of getting all the hard money you could possibly want?
Okay, so the second tip is values. Really know how to comp out properties. I mean, I see so many people inflating their what we call the ARV, the after renovated value.
Do you think they do that on purpose, or you think they do that by accident? And after renovated value means basically you buy the house as is, then you put X amount of money into it to fix it up. That's your ARV, your after renovated value. I mean, that plus any appreciation or any profit. What you're going to actually sell it for, several months down the road after you fix it up is your ARV. So why are people overdoing this on the ARV? I mean, inevitably you see this where you have like a property that comes on the market and then there's an auction type atmosphere. There's one near me that came on the market just recently that had 22 offers on it. And the person that won obviously had a different ARV than the person who came in dead 22nd last. So what's going on there? Where are people making mistakes?
I think a lot of people are getting into the speculation because the market's so hot. There's limited inventory now, so people are they're overinflating what they can really get for a property, and that's how you're going to lose in this game. My best advice is, start out and do a very simple cosmetic remodel, okay, where your construction budget's less than $50,000. I see too many people all of a sudden become real estate investors and jump into 3 or 4 large renovations at one time. That's how you're going to fail.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you can think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now.
Being a lender, I see this all the time. I know when people are going to fail because they'll come to me with 2 or 3 projects at once, and I go, okay, well, how many properties have you flipped yourself? Well, no, I'm just starting. Well, start with 1, guys. Get that done, then go from there. Because what you're going to find is working with contractors is probably the most difficult part. Besides finding the deal, is dealing with the contractors and managing the construction process.
That, and I think people they guess high, right? It's almost like you should ask several other realtors, cohorts of yours, even pay them to give an ARV. What do you think I could sell this for? Because, if I put this in it, because I think what happens is typical mistakes is that, they'll buy an older rancher and then they'll use 3 colonials as comps, right? And that just don't, that's just not, you need to find ranchers that are fixed up to get your true ARV. I see this all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's just tricks of the trade. I mean, obviously buying in a busy street you're going to deduct 20, 30, 40 grand depending where you're at.
Yeah.
Location,
right?
Yeah, location's huge. School district. It could be a certain city, but the school district's the other city because it's right on the border, and the school ratings are terrible. So, I mean, it's really, you got to really, if you're not an agent and you're listening, you really need to find an agent that's really, really savvy, and also an agent that's going to help you be able to pick out the right finishes for the neighborhood too. I see a lot of people put the wrong finishes in, the wrong paint colors, wrong flooring. So your agent, or if you are an agent, you should have a team as well, like stagers and designers. Because when I was doing a lot of flips, I didn't want to do all the staging and designing, but I brought a person on my team who's an independent contractor, picked out paint, picked out all the fixtures. I mean, that's the way to do it. So
yeah, that's great. It goes right back to finding out, from the real estate agents what the ARV is rather than doing it yourself. Find out from interior designer, find out from people that are in that business what they would do to fix this up to make it saleable, rather than you deciding, oh, put this here because I saw it on HGTV's House Hunters,
Exactly. And then like as an agent or as a real estate investor, we, as a lender, we do the same thing. We usually, for our loans, we usually order a BPO. And then if it's a renovation loan, we'll do a full appraisal. But as an investor or as an agent, what we want you to do is the same thing, is to comp the properties, typically a half a mile radius from the subject property. And find similar houses. If it's a single story, make sure it's a single story. Square footage should be in like a 15% range of the subject property. So being able to do the very basic stuff and really kind of putting thought into the property, like what are the pros versus the other comps? What are the cons? And really figuring out what's going to be the selling point of the house, and really looking at a lot of houses makes you a better investor. So those are kind of my tips of why I see people go wrong. And also a big tip that I see, especially in certain cities, especially in California, the permit process is very time consuming. So people come to me for a 12-month loan, and then all of a sudden it's month 11 and we're sending our final demand for our money back, our balloon payment, and they haven't even started because they've got tied up in permit processing. So, oh yeah. So knowing your cities and states rules and regs and making sure you know the exact timing of your deal. People always underestimate the cost of construction.
I think a great advice if you're going to do your first flip is to go in partners with somebody who's done this before, right? Give them half of it and say, let's do this together, and then just learn from them.
Exactly.
And then it builds. It ties right into number 3, which is track record. Tell me about track record.
Yeah, so that's one of our questions. Our loan process is so streamlined nowadays. We can turn loans around if it's a non-rehab loan in 3 or 4 days. So really? It's such a fast, streamlined process now. So what's important to us, or one of the questions is what's your experience? What's your track record?
Yeah. You could say, not to say you can't get a hard money loan if you've never done this before, because there's a lot of people going out there wanting to get into flip games that have never gotten hard money.
Yeah.
That don't have a track record. Everybody's new. Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Right. So, and real estate agents, if you're like a real estate agent, it's your first deal, we're more inclined to give you a higher loan to value because you have experience. I have a lot of newbies coming to me, and yes, I can make them loans, but I might reduce the loan to value a little bit based on our risk tolerance. But now I have discretion. I can make the calls. I can work with people on pricing. Our model is that we want quality loans, and we want to win the loan. So if you're a quality borrower, we're going to do what we can to earn your business. And a lot of our customers are just repeat clients. So once you do one, we're just doing multiple. But yeah, so going back to track record, if you don't have a track record, what I did in the beginning for example, is I partnered with a money guy and a general contractor, and we split our deals 33%, each basically.
Yeah, and I've done that too with people. I've been the money guy, and split the profits with them. There's a lot of money guys out there with cash that are willing to do that. And then again, that gives you track record. And it's always a balance, right? Because I've had there's several flippers that I've done flips with in the past they'll do like 2 or 3 with me, right? And the benefit of doing it with a partner is, there's no stress, right? I don't hound them for my money, or there's no interest, none of that. And then they just give me half of the profit when it sells and settles, whether it takes 6 months or 6 years. The downside to that is usually 50% of the profit is too much, and then they can find it too hard money, get the hard money loan, and make 80% rather than 50%, because the hard money interest only took up 20% of all their costs. But the funny part is they come and go. They'll do like 3 deals hard money, and then they'll lose on one, and they'll be like, oh, screw it, I'm going to go back with Pat where it's no risk. Do a couple deals with me, then they'll go back to hard money because they feel like they were giving away too much. So it's kind of a cycle.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to structure deals, and I'm happy to help anybody. You all have my contact information. I'm happy to help structure deals. You definitely want guys like Pat who are willing to be the gap, what we call the gap lenders, the gap funders. You want them on your team. You want a guy like me on your team. You want a good real estate agent. You want good contractors. That's how you start building your team, guys. And then also educate yourself. Listen to podcasts. Okay, it's a great free way to start.
So talk about number 4, which is have the exit prepared. What does that mean?
So another thing is when you're putting your loan summary together, or you're talking to me on the phone, and I go, okay, well, what's the exit strategy of this property? Like, really have a defined strategy of how are you selling it? Are you going to refinance it and keep it as a rental? What's your time frame? Who's listing your property? Have they sold a lot of property? If you're doing a high-end home, let's say in San Francisco, who's the agent selling the house? Do they have experience selling $5 million houses in that market? And those are just, so what's your exit strategy? That's always like, I just want to know how our company is going to get our money back. And this way, we don't run into, so that's just really important. Just kind of have a clear defined exit strategies and know, well, maybe if it doesn't sell, we'll keep it as a rental. We don't want to hear that. We want to know that you have a defined exit strategy to pay us back.
And now a word from Rockstar agent and Rebus University graduate, Mr. Jeff Quinton.
Hello, my name is Jeff Quinton, and from Keller Williams, the Quinton Group. I service all of Southern New Jersey, and our expansion team is in the greater Philadelphia area. And just wanted to give a shout out to Rebus University, Pat Hyman and his crew. My team, what we've implemented right now is through our onboarding process, we have a learning management system called Learning Zen. And inside Learning Zen, in the very first 14 days when someone comes on our team, they have to go through and learn all the sales skills and sales training. And part of that is we require everybody to go through the Rebus University Certified Listing Agent course. And at the end of that, they've got to prove and got to come out and show us their certificate before they even get on the phone, before they even meet with a client, before they go out on any listing presentation. So what's interesting is that through this course, it's allowed me to leverage my time versus what it used to be, where I'd have to show them all of the listing presentations, spend time each individual, for 20 minutes at a time or 30 minutes at a time. So now I can leverage it through the Certified Listing Agent course and then go back and role play with them what they've learned. So what I've learned right now is that when an agent goes through this course, they feel confident. And that's the key, is the confidence is so built because they've been able to see someone else do it, and then they practice it. And what's interesting is I've had so many agents. In fact, I've had over 20 agents go through this course and become certified. And a major portion of them go out on listing appointments when they're competing with another top agent, and they actually win the listing on the first try. So the skills, the techniques, the dialogues, and everything that they get from this course. It's pretty incredible.
If you want the same amount of listings and the same extremely high close ratio that Jeff Quinton's agents get, just type in the coupon code CLA50 on rebusuniversity.com. That's REBUS university.com for, get this, 50% off the Certified Listing Agent course. That's CLA 50. You won't regret it.
So
All right, cool.
That's pretty much
And
it.
then the fifth and final one you got is negotiate. What's that about?
Negotiation. What I meant by that is when you're negotiation, a couple different facets. One is when you're buying properties, learn how to negotiate very well, where you can get the price down. A lot of times you have contingencies on your contracts where you can go in and negotiate, because there's a lot more work that needs to be done. So be really good, or have somebody on your team that's really good at putting together a scope of work and a line item budget. So when you go back to the seller of the property, you can show them that, hey, listen, I didn't realize that I had to do $8,000 in foundation work. I didn't realize I had to do this. And by strategic negotiations, not only in that avenue, but also on your private money and all your other costs, you can save 7-8% on your deal by just negotiating well. And that 7 or 8% is all profit. So when you're talking to a private money or a hard money lender, get rate quotes from 2 or 3. Find out how fast they can turn the deal around for you. A lot of people come to us because we're so fast, right? Because a lot of people write cash offers. So my contract says it's a cash offer, right? But really they're closing with my loan.
Right. Yeah. All the time, right? All the time. Yeah. They consider that cash.
Yeah. So when you have a partner on your team, it's important to have a partner on your team that when they tell you they're going to be able to do the loan, that they can do the loan. Because a lot of times we're writing in this competitive market, we're writing offers with no contingencies, right? Because we're competing. If it's a market deal, a lot of real estate agents now are getting really, the ones that work with investors are getting they're getting the off market deals, and they're getting the listings on them, but they already have their investor buyers lined up. So.
Yeah.
I
love this one because at the end of the day, a lot of people will tell you the age old number one rule of real estate is location, location, location. I think the more important rule is you always make money on the buy, right? The number one rule I think in real estate is you make money on the buy, which is all about what you said, negotiation. Because if you're negotiating on the buy 8% lower, that could be the difference between making 8% and making 0%, or making 0% and making -8, So, I've always believed that you make money on the buy. That is it. Right.
And here, since most of our listeners here are real estate agents, let me just tell you about a deal I did.
Yeah. I love stories.
And this is good to kind of get your mindset and what's available. So a contact of mine had a property off market, and she didn't know if she wanted to close on it because she had the prior deal she did in the same neighborhood didn't work out that well for her. And I was reviewing it. I had nothing to do with her acquisition. She found it off market by doing some letters on the door kind of thing, and she got a seller who wanted to sell. It was a vacant house that was inherited. So she had it. I said to her, listen, if you don't want to do it, I'd be happy to buy it from you, and I'll pay you a $5,000 assignment fee. And she said, well, why don't we do it together? And she had all the money lined up already. She had the deal on contract. So all I had to do is just kind of orchestrate the remodel, which was fine. So instead of me, I agreed to list the property. So instead of me taking a listing commission, I said, let's just split this deal 50-50. So she put all the money up, had the deal already. All I had to do is kind of orchestrate a light cosmetic remodel. And instead of making $12,000 commission, I ended up making $30,000. So as an agent, there's these things we can do. And so even if you don't have the financial capabilities, guys, it's all about learning how to deal structure. And that's what I did. I've done so many deals with none of my own money, because you learn how to use other people's money, using people's IRA, working with lenders like myself. So there's just many ways of doing it. And I think, from all the online infomercials you see on TV about like learning how to flip houses. People they don't realize that it is very doable to do things
Right.
without your own money. So
and they always make money, right? You see these
Yeah.
guys on TV, every damn flip, they're making, 50 grand, multiple offers. And, the reality of it is, in the real estate game, right? It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And there's going to be flippers that lose their ass. It hasn't happened in the last 5 or 6 years. And that's why for the most part, I just lost 20 grand on a flip actually last year, settled in like October. So you're going to start seeing more and more people doing that. But as time rolls on and things do start to slow up, which they will, you're going to see more and more flippers lose their ass. And I think what Beau is saying here with these 5 elements is, all these are helping you build a foundation or a scaffolding on your building of your flipping business that you can use to eventually take away and have a profitable flipping business every time and make you recession proof if you're doing it right. But if you're just going to go out there and wing it and try to do your first flip without thinking about all these things, there's a good chance you're going to lose your ass sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
probably sooner.
I've done a good number of flips, and I've lost probably on 2 of them in the past couple of years, and that's in a super hot market, right? So as the market changes, and also being a lender too, we've had to foreclose on a couple borrowers.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they bought it right. It's just because they couldn't perform. So it's, learn the business, know the business. It's going to add to your wallet if you do it the right way. And it'll make you a better real estate agent by being able to service and work with real estate investors.
I love it, buddy. Well, Beau, listen, this has been great, boss. Thanks for coming back on. Thank you very much for your credibility kit template, which again, I'm going to put on hibandigital.com. Listen, I'm going to make this easy for you guys. I'm going to do BO2. That's BO2. The number 2. 3. It's 3 characters, a B, an O, and then the number 2. So go to hibandigital.com and BO2, and I'll put the credibility kit template. I'll also put all of Beau's information if you want to reach out to him, talk to him about hard money. You go in all states, Beau?
I go into right now, we're expanding nationwide, but right now I go into about 11 different states.
All right. Well, ask him if your state qualifies, or get some advice. He can refer you to somebody if he can't figure it out. And I'm going to also put the template on hibandigital.com/toolbox, along with all our other toolbox items. Or you can text the word toolbox to 444-999. Mr. Beau, I will give you the last word. Anything you'd like to leave our Rockstar Nation with, sir?
I have a quote, and it is, "The successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus." And that was from Mr. Bruce Lee himself.
Of course. Monomaniacal. I love it, right? It's true. It's like Gary Keller's The One Thing, right? It's all about the focus. So, if you want to do flips, or you want to help with investors to do flips, focus on it. Focus on it. Listen to this one 3 times, 5 times, whatever, and just look at the show notes, because everything we talked about will be in the show notes. Listen, Beau, this has been a blast, buddy. I wish you the best of luck. If I'm ever in the San Francisco area, I will stop by and we'll definitely break some bread.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate Rockstars. If this free content is giving you a ton of value, I want to ask a small favor in return. I need you to pull out your pointing finger and hit the subscribe button. Yes, hit subscribe, please. The more subscribers that we get on Real Estate Rockstars, the better guests are attracted to the shows. We'll get more guests from the top companies, from the top teams, and even more celebrity guests like Robert Kiyosaki and Barbara Corcoran. Also, if you're not a member of our free Facebook group, go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio right on Facebook and join the conversation. I'm on there myself on FaceTime Lives, And we have a lot of communications and questions about the show, and I'd love to see you there. And it's free. People ask me all the time, where am I on social media? I'm real easy to find. Just type in my name. My IG is I am Pat Hyben. It is blowing up on Instagram, adding tons of subscribers, and I'm on there probably twice a day. So definitely follow me on Instagram, as well as everywhere else. Thanks again for listening, and keep rocking.